WSTKS-FM Worldwide, digital collaborative learning for the 21st century. Hello again, everyone. It's Professor Schwartz on the air yet again, talking to all the world from right here in the WSTKS-FM Worldwide studios. Join me today to learn about 10 steps to more active listening in your digital collaborative learning. Here's a hint. Texting or chatting with each other is not really the most effective way for your team to carry out the expected routine collaborative work each week. There is more to becoming an active listener than just fast thumbs. Becoming an active listener involves a range of behaviors and skills that you need to cultivate. Doing so in your activities related to this course will not only help you produce stronger work, but becoming a more active and engaged listener better prepares you for your transition to the globalized digital economy of the 21st century after graduation. Following a quick break, we'll get started with the 10 steps you can take to more active listening in your digital collaborative learning each week. Don't move. Welcome back. Okay, I've been to the kitchen for another mug of coffee, and my feline friend, Onyx the cat, is purring on the back of my desk chair just behind my head. So let's get the ball rolling. In today's episode, we're looking at the 10 steps you can take to more active listening in your digital collaborative learning each week. Ready? Step 1. Minimize distractions and face in the direction of the speaker. Silence your iPhones or other electronic gadgets and flip them over so they are face down on the table and you are not tempted to glance at them, reply to incoming texts, or any other technological temptations. If you are comfortable doing so, establish and maintain eye contact with the person speaking. In addition, pay attention to nonverbal cues too. That means paying attention to not only the speakers, but your own facial expressions, body language, and tone of voice in response during your discussion. Reading the room, if you will. Think about which seems more open and receptive to the exchange of ideas and information from a speaker's point of view. Is it pleasant facial expressions, leaning forward to engage, normal speaking volume and pitch of voice? Or belligerent grimaces, slouching back in your chair as though you don't really want to be there, arms folded across your chest, and loud combative tones of voice when you speak? I know who I'd rather spend time in discussion with. What about you? Third, don't interrupt. This is a tough one when the subject under discussion is about a difficult or touchy subject. But hearing out each other is important. Constantly interrupting someone else risks coming across as controlling, intimidating, and closed off to others' ideas. It's not an effective or inclusive way to share, learn, and get things accomplished in either a classroom or workplace setting. Following a station identification, I'll be right back with additional information about becoming a more active listener as part of your student learning team collaboration for not only this course, but any high school, college, or university course of which you are a part anywhere in the world. WSTKS-FM Worldwide, digital collaborative learning for the 21st century. If you find this podcast helpful, be sure to hit like, share, and subscribe. Hello again. Let's talk now about 3 more of the 10 steps to more active listening in your digital collaborative learning. Step 4. It's important to listen without judging or jumping to conclusions. To put it another way, hear the other person out before making up your mind about them or the information they share. And who knows, you might learn something unexpected, interesting, and highly relevant to your work together. It's just one more way to foster a more cohesive and collegial dynamic within your student learning team here on campus, or once you enter the globalized digital economy after graduation, where teamwork and committees have been a part of the scenery for quite some time. It pays then to cultivate the habit of listening without judging or jumping to conclusions now. Step 5, don't start planning what to say next. This is another bad habit that many of us fall into, but when we are busy thinking over the next statement in reply to what someone might be saying at the moment, our attention wavers, and we can miss important information without meaning to. A more effective approach is to jot down that thought in your notes and ask or reply to what is being said in a few minutes once the speaker finishes and you have more information. It's also important to show that you are listening to a speaker or group discussion, interested and engaged in the wider conversation through things like posture, how you sit in your seat, hand gestures, note-taking, nodding your head when you agree with something that is shared, and so forth. This is a part of the body language mentioned earlier in today's program. When you think about it, it's amazing how much we can communicate nonverbally. Whether you mean to or not, things like fidgeting with your hair, rustling for something in your backpack, or staring out the window all suggest that you are not really involved in the discussion taking place at the moment and that you might rather be somewhere else. And while that might be true, such behaviors are not conducive to effective collaboration with the exchange and development of ideas as its goal. Hello again. So far, in our look at 10 steps to more active listening in your digital collaboration, we've considered practices like minimizing distractions, looking toward the person speaking, listening without interrupting, reserving our judgment, delaying questions and replies until a speaker finishes sharing information, and the importance of demonstrating that we are, in fact, involved in the discussion or conversation taking place. Let's turn our attention now to a few additional points you want to keep in mind as part of your routine student learning teamwork each week. Step 7, don't impose your opinions or solutions on everyone else. Not only is this overbearing, but it ignores the fact that others might have equally valid ideas about how to address a task or solve a problem. Ideally, a team of people should have a clear discussion in which all ideas are presented, examined, and evaluated before decisions and approaches are finalized. For that to work, however, everyone needs to be physically and mentally present in real time, either face-to-face or through whatever conferencing application or software you use to meet. A series of disjointed text messages or tweets won't quite do the trick. Step 8 in your journey to becoming a more active listener in your digital collaborative learning is this. It's also important to stay focused as part of being a more active listener. This point harkens back to previous points about minimizing distractions and personal habits not conducive to active listening. By the same token, however, remaining focused can also mean sticking to the topic at hand. As one of my students put it in a podcast episode of her own recently, be conscious of each other's time. Stay on task and on topic to get things accomplished without wasting valuable time and mental energy, or in the process, raising collective frustration levels among your student learning team members. And the 9th step to becoming a more active listener in your routine digital collaborative learning? Questions, of course. Once a speaker or speakers have finished, you can demonstrate your interest and engagement in what has been said by asking follow-up questions of various kinds, making connections to related points, or seeking clarifications to make sure you understand what has been shared. As long as they are on topic and do not drift toward the frivolous, asking questions demonstrates your interest and engagement in the topic at hand. Following another station identification, We'll look at Step 10 to becoming a more active listener in your digital collaborative learning each week, plus a new semi-regular feature entitled Hey, Professor Schwartz. Stay tuned. And we're back. Let's look now at Step 10 in your journey toward more active listening in your digital collaborative learning each week. Here it is. Paraphrase and summarize when it is your turn to speak. Doing so indicates not only that you are engaged in the discussion, but it provides room for your teammates to add clarifying remarks, additional thoughts, or other information that contributes to the overall value of the exchange. In turn, that will contribute to interesting, multifaceted thinking about and development of your collaborative projects. All 10 of these related steps, guidelines really, will help you become a more active listener, whether your collaboration takes place face-to-face or via Zoom, Microsoft Teams, or similar, where student learning team members actually see and hear each other. Like email, texting and chatting with each other is not really the most effective or efficient way for your team to carry out its collaborative work each week. WSTKS-FM Worldwide, digital collaborative learning for the 21st century. If you find this podcast helpful, be sure to hit like, share, and subscribe. Before we wrap up today's program, allow me to introduce a new segment which hopefully will become a recurring feature of the podcast. It's based on student questions that I receive every semester via email or face-to-face. I call it, Hey, Professor Schwartz. And let's kick it off with today's question and my related answer. So here's the question. Hey, Professor Schwartz. I forgot to complete and turn in a number of my individual 2-point reflections from earlier this semester. I know we're approaching week 10 of the course, but could I turn these in late for credit? Signed, Hopeful in Mumble Hall. Here's my answer. Dear Hopeful, individual reflections should have been based on and written immediately following earlier student learning team collaboration for a particular week this semester. That expectation is clearly outlined in the online course modules on D2L and guidelines shared with students via email each week and posted to each course module on D2L. It is now late in the semester and remaining time is scarce. So rather than get stuck on relatively small points value assignments from the past, a more effective approach is to focus on completing your remaining coursework, which includes 2 collaborative projects and your capstone semester reflection. To that end, determine 3 or 4 specific steps that you can take to move toward that goal. Consider and answer the following questions. What patterns do you see in how you have approached your coursework this semester? What changes could you make to ensure that you can complete and deliver your remaining work? How best can you use your personal strengths and abilities to do that? What specific strategies and skills might be most helpful? And finally, what concrete steps can you take next to get started on all of that without delay? Give your responses serious thought and formulate a clear written path forward. A specific plan will help you navigate the final weeks of the course more efficiently. Your efforts to plan, organize, and manage your remaining time and problem solve now are key to finishing the course with a reasonable grade and cultivate valuable 21st century skills that you will need in the working world after graduation. Remember that my responses to questions like these are to provide information that will put you in charge of your own learning through questions designed to foster more careful thought about how you do things related to your work in the course. Thinking about your thinking, in other words, or metacognition, if we want to use the fancy term. Welcome back, everyone. Use the 10 steps presented today to become a more active listener in your digital collaborative learning each week. Doing so will help you and your student learning team develop more interesting and nuanced work together for the remainder of the course. Tune in again for more helpful tips, tricks, and advice based on my 25-plus years of teaching and working with thousands of undergraduates at 3 Big Ten universities across the upper Midwest of the United States. In the meantime, thank you for joining me today. I'll see you in class, online, and during Zoom office hours if you drop by with a question. Stay healthy, have a safe and a productive week in the meantime. With special regards from Onyx, the cat what am. So long, and I'll talk to you again soon. Bye for now. You've just heard a podcast from WSTKS-FM Worldwide, digital collaborative learning for the 21st century.